Hello, everyone, and welcome to the another day of Parent Solution. We have here with us Wendi McKenna. Wendi herself is mother of three children and running a very successful program, Intentional Parenting. Welcome, Wendi.
Hi,
Wendi,
Filza. Great to be with you.
When you tell us something about your program, Intentional Parenting, and as I am part of it, I really want my viewers to know that it is super helpful for me and whoever else is doing that, taking that coaching from you. And that most important part of intentional parenting I found was pillars. Can you tell us something more about the pillars?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 5 pillars of intentional parenting I created through my experience being a mom, my experience being a pediatric physical therapist, and my experience in the transformational leadership room, and brought that all together. And what I discovered as I was creating the pillars and trying them out and seeing how it would work for me, everything that either worked or didn't work, every obstacle that was in my way, every experience that was created with me and my family, I could address with one of the 5 pillars. And so there isn't anything that you're going to come across that can't be put into one of those pillars as like, oh, this is where I get to go to shift here, so that you're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying to figure out like, this isn't working, where do I go? So the 5 pillars. The first pillar, purpose. And really, purpose is all about our vision. Like, what is my purpose as a parent? And this is very important for everyone to sit down and really create, what is your purpose as a parent? Now, your purpose might be different than mine. And I'm not saying that's right, wrong, good, or bad. There is no cookie cutter for what your purpose is. And as I found over time, my purpose shifted with my growth. And what I thought was important at the beginning, I realized isn't necessarily the thing now, but I got to go through my journey. But the important thing is to really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And when you have that purpose, when you have that vision in mind, that gets to guide all of your choices. And it gets to be that goalpost, that star, that target where if you're moving towards it, you can celebrate. And if you're moving not towards it, you can shift back. But it's really important to have that defined for yourself. And I'm talking about your morals and your values and, what's important to you and your family and the world and your relationships, not just the results that you create or the results that your children create in, say, school or, job later on in life, but really the relationships. What do those relationships look like with you, with their siblings, with their friends, with their teachers, all of that. It's all part of vision and purpose. So that's a big pillar that we all dive into very deeply in intentional parenting. So once we have that down and it's clear, pillar number 2 is presence, being in the present moment. This is one of the hardest things for us. The present moment lasts right now, right? So it's like, how do you be present? Most people are either bringing the past into their present or the future into your present. And I would say a vast majority of the people are bringing the past into their present. They are recreating the past over and over and over again, sometimes with a little bit of a different flavor. But this is why sometimes life feels like we're on a hamster wheel, because we keep repeating it. Now, when you have vision, when you have purpose, pillar number 1, you're stepping into the future. And when you can bring your future into the present moment, now you're creating something that wasn't going to happen anyway. And by the way, you're often creating something with zero evidence. The past has a ton of evidence. You know that this is the headstrong one. You know that this is where the breakdowns occur. Well, if you know that, you're walking right back into it all over again. So what if there was another possibility? And so when we bring ourselves into the present moment, it is so incredibly powerful because we can just truly be in the experience versus about feeling guilty or shameful, which is past, or worried and anxious and fearful, which is future. be here. And there's lots of things that we do within the program to really ground us back into the present moment, to notice when we're not. How do we get back? How do we shift? So we go again into many of the strategies that support us in recognizing, being aware of, and then being committed to being in present. So that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, proaction. Most people react versus respond. Most people tend to make choices and decisions based on what they don't want versus what they do want. And even if the decision and the choice is the same one, your come from, the position that you're operating from is actually what you're calling in. And so proaction is about setting yourself up to win, setting other people up to win by making choices based off of what you want versus what you don't want, which, by the way, takes us back to pillar number 1. So you can see why pillar number 1 is so important because we tend to just spend our life reacting to the fires, putting out fires all over the place, rather than spending our time on creating the future. And so in this program, we really support you in shifting that reaction to what we don't want to the responsibility of being proactive in creating that which we want. So that's pillar number 3. Pillar number 4, practice. Guess what? We've been doing it one way for our whole lives, and we get to practice doing it a new way. And when we practice, we build new muscles. When we do things that are different, we forge new pathways. But that pathway is going to be a hard one to walk at first because it's unfamiliar and it's uncomfortable. And so you have to keep walking it. So it's not like check mark, one and done. I did it. Goal. You get to keep repeating it. And it's really easy to slip back into our old patterns and our old habits. So practice builds new habits. Practice builds new muscles. And it's also a beautiful time for you to have a moment to look at what's occurring in your life and notice what's working, what's not working, what you get to repeat, and what you get to shift. And so in practice, what we really lean into in intentional parenting is being a neutral observer of the results that are being created, not shaming and blaming myself if things go wrong, and not being over exuberant about things that go right, thinking that like, oh my gosh, I finally made it. It's really that celebration and don't let the pedal off the metal. Keep going, keep going, keep going. The present moment, pillar number 2, keeps on occurring. So we get to keep going because relationships are a never ending opportunity to shift and grow and reinvent and be with another person. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. So constant reinvention, that's why we practice. And then 5th pillar, play. Play is our joy languages. So many of you may have heard of the 5 love languages. We have 8 play personalities, which are our joy languages. And the language of a child is naturally joy. We lose our joy as adults as we have more responsibilities and we think that we should be doing something based on expectations. And so oftentimes as adults, we forget to play. We forget to be joyful. And we define our play based on what we do on weekends or girls' night out or date night or vacations as if it's an escape from life versus a celebration of life. So in play, we get to be joyful in the process and in the experience and in the journey of life, not just celebrating 1 or 2 days a week, barely having survived the other 5. So those are the 5 pillars that we learn about and lean into and practice with ourselves and with our kids and family. We have a great time doing it.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing all these things. These are super supportive. That's all for today. See you soon.